When Emily laughed that night, I realized something inside me had shifted irreversibly. We were sitting at the dining table, the remnants of our meal scattered between us. I had just told her I wouldn't argue anymore, that I was done raising my voice, done chasing her approval. Then she leaned back in her chair, lips curling into a smirk that cut deeper than any insult. "I finally tamed you," she said, her voice thick with triumph. "Took me long enough, but now you know your place." The words hit me like ice water straight to the chest. Tamed? Was I her husband, or some wild animal she thought needed breaking? I stared, searching for the woman I married in the stranger sitting across from me. Once, Emily had been gentle, kind, the kind of person who made me believe in partnership. Somewhere along the way, though, control had replaced love, and humiliation had become her weapon. I swallowed the bitterness rising in my throat, forcing calm. "Is that what you think this marriage is, Emily? A game you win by breaking me?" She laughed again, louder this time, as if confirming her victory. "Don't act so dramatic, Michael. All men resist at first, but eventually they learn, and you finally learned." Her words echoed in my mind long after she left the table. That night, as she slept peacefully beside me, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every argument, every dismissal, every mocking smile. It wasn't just the words themselves. It was the truth behind them. She no longer saw me as her partner. She saw me as her conquest. And at that moment, I knew something had to change. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. The next morning, before Emily even woke, I pulled out the envelope I had hidden for weeks. Inside were the divorce papers, signed, dated, final. The decision I had feared for so long was already sealed. All I had to do was show her. The papers felt heavier than they should have, as though they carried not only ink and signatures, but years of swallowed pride, silent tears, and nights spent wondering where the love had gone. I tucked them into my briefcase before leaving for work, rehearsing the words I would speak when I handed them over. For the first time in months, my chest felt lighter, not happy, but free. All day, Emily's smirk haunted me, the way she had spoken as if I were nothing more than a project she'd completed. That image alone strengthened my resolve. I had spent years trying to fix us, to reason, to compromise, to fight for something she had already turned into a battlefield. No more. When I returned home that evening, Emily was in the living room, scrolling through her phone with the same air of superiority she had worn the night before. She barely looked up. "You're late," she muttered, as if I owed her an explanation. I set my briefcase down and sat across from her. My heart pounded, but my voice was steady. "Emily, I've made my decision." Finally, she glanced up, eyebrow arched. "Decision about what? Dinner?" Her tone dripped with mockery. I reached into my bag and placed the envelope on the coffee table between us. She stared at it for a moment, confusion giving way to curiosity. When she opened it and saw my signature at the bottom, her smirk faltered. "What is this?" she asked sharply. "Divorce," I said simply. "You wanted control, Emily. You wanted to break me until I was nothing. But I won't live that way. I'm not your conquest. I'm your husband, or at least I was supposed to be. Since you see this as a game, I'm done playing." Her hands trembled slightly as she held the papers, though she tried to mask it with a scoff. "You're bluffing. You'd never leave me." The fear in her eyes betrayed her words. She knew I wasn't bluffing. For a long moment, the room was silent except for the rustle of paper in her hands. I watched as the confidence she had hidden behind for years began to crack. Her smirk disappeared, replaced by something I had never seen before: uncertainty. "You can't be serious," she whispered, voice unsteady. "After everything we built, you just throw it away?" I leaned back, exhaustion heavy on me, but my resolve firm. "Emily, I didn't throw anything away." "You did. Every time you belittled me, mocked my efforts, treated our marriage like a contest. You may think you've tamed me, but all you've done is push me to my limit." Her eyes flashed with anger, but this time it was tinged with desperation, not arrogance. "So that's it. You're walking out." I nodded slowly. "I'm choosing peace." I'm choosing myself. The silence that followed was thick, almost suffocating. Emily opened her mouth to argue, to claw back control, but nothing came out. She stared at the papers like a mirror, reflecting a reality she had never imagined, a life where her games no longer held power. I stood and walked to the door, picking up my coat. The papers are signed. You can fight them if you want, but it won't change the truth. This marriage died the moment winning mattered more than loving. Her voice finally broke, trembling as she called after me. Michael, wait. For the first time, her tone wasn't commanding or mocking. It was pleading. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. If I did, I would see the woman I once loved instead of the one who had laughed at my pain. Stepping outside, the cool night air hit my face, sharp and cleansing. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight lift from my shoulders. Emily had wanted victory, but in the end, the real freedom was mine. With every step away from that house, her laughter grew smaller, fading until all that remained was silence, and the promise of life I could finally call my own.